Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, not here with Geeky Sparkles in this video. We're going to talk about video games then. She doesn't really seem to care too much about video games. We're going to talk about Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford's $80 comment. Do you remember that we talked about the other day? Where he basically said, you know, quit your bitching. I'm paraphrasing here and I'm embellishing, just so you know. Quit your bitching, pay $80 for Borderlands 4. Back in the day, back in my day, if you were a real fan, you'd plunk down $80. If you're a real fan for Borderlands, you'll find $80 somewhere, right? More or less, that's what he said. And now one of the Baldur's Gate 3 developers is calling him out, saying his comments were gross. And it wasn't that he was incorrect, because he's not incorrect. The Gearbox CEO is not incorrect in the fact that games have not kept pace with inflation. But as I've been trying to point out to people, and they're not watching the videos because they're going out to Twitter and being like, ew, how could you defend them? If you look at inflation, the games that we paid $50-$60 for back in the day, back in the 90s, the cartridges would now be $120. But they were cartridges, the physical media, and they had chips that were very expensive at the time. That is not really the case anymore. So, really that money just goes to the bottom line of the company, or a lot of it goes to production costs because these games cost so damn much money to make. Either way, gamers are not okay with the idea of $70, $80 games. They're actually rejecting $70 or $80 games. The new Doom came out. It's $70. People are not paying it. You can buy the original Doom, I think, for $5 on Steam, and you can play and play and play. I've seen Eternal go for $5 or $10 sometimes too. So, it's just gamers have become accustomed to games being cheap, and AAA titles command a premium price, and they're not really giving players a premium experience anymore. So that is the problem. And for him to basically drag a random person on Twitter over his comment, and he was actually pretty respectful. He's like, I just hope you guys keep the price down. I don't want to pay $80 for Borderlands 4. That's what the Baldur's Gate 3 developer said was gross. It is gross. It's kind of a gross comment to make, because he was basically making fun of this guy for being concerned about the price of a game. And a lot of gamers took note. Of that. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. This is coming from Fandom Pulse. John Trent, a couple days ago, Baldur's Gate 3 developer, explains why he called Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford's $80 Borderlands 4 comments gross. So this was the original tweet. This was the Treasured Treacher. Said, Randy, this game better not be $80. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 and feed this notion of constant increases of the price tags. You're the CEO. You have some say with the price when it comes to your publisher. Yes and no. But beyond that, wasn't really a very nasty comment at all. It was actually just an observation. And this guy is correct. Gamers are tired of the sticker shock. All of a sudden, Nintendo's like, yeah, Mario Kart's going to be $80, $90. Depends. That's okay. You'll pay it. Grand Theft Auto 6, $100. Yeah, you'll pay it. That's all right. Randy said, not my call. B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. That's what's gross. That's his attitude. His attitude sucked. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school, working minimum wage in an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen. Again, he's not incorrect in what he's saying, but the way he said it was gross. Because he's like, peons, you'll find it, right? And he's not wrong. I think I've told people this story multiple times. My very first JRPG was Phantasy Star 2. And yeah, I was pretty young when I got it, but I mowed a lot of lawns for that game. Like, I played the hell out of that game. It was so hard. Even with the tip book, it was hard because you had to like squint to see how the maps worked. And it was just like, what the, I don't know where I'm at. Like, you get close to the end of the game, and it's just like, it's ridiculous. Like those dungeons at the end were ridiculous, but I beat it. I did beat it. $70 I paid for that game. And that was like 1990, 91, somewhere in there. And like I said, I mowed a lot of lawns to get that game. And it was worth it, though. It was. But, you know, you don't tell people that when they're concerned about the cost of games. It's not good business. So this is, let's see here. Dowse, right? Yeah, Michael Dowse, Larian Studios Director of Publishing, explained why he described Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford's $80 Borderlands comment as gross. It is gross. The way he did it was gross. So he said inflation exists. We give inflation bumps, for example. To employees, and price increases can make sense, but saying real fans will find a way is gross because it assumes your game is more important during a cost of living crisis than, for example, making it day to day. Yeah, and a lot of people are in a bad place right now. I mean, I'm sorry, the economy is not great. You know, I don't think we've ever fully recovered from the pandemic. I think we're still dealing with a long tail of that, kind of like how in 2008, companies were still laying off in like 2010, 2011. I know because it happened to me. Like I lived for a couple of years, and then 2010, 2011, I got laid off somewhere in there because there was a long tail, right? He says, this is a guy from Larian. Real fans are people who love and understand what you do, keep track and engage with your shit regardless of how much they spend. He is 100% correct. This is the attitude that more publishers need to have, especially now. Especially now. You cannot afford to tell people to go F themselves. You can't lose a single customer and expect to, again, look at how many AAA failures we've had. And the Borderlands movie was a massive flop. So yeah, I would kiss some ass there, Randy. I'd kiss as much ass as you could kiss. The individual also retorted, it's quite gross of a statement, though I'm not going to pretend like a video game is in competition with my day-to-day expenses. Video games are definitely a luxury. Always have been. If someone's buying a game and can't pay rent, their priorities are not right. He said luxuries are in competition with day-to-day expenses. That is actually true. I think some people splurge on luxury items. I'm going to be honest, just my own history when I was younger and I wasn't in the best financial shape. Sometimes I would go buy that game or whatever, or go do that thing and spend that money on that thing because it made me happy. And I needed to be happy because my day-to-day life was depressing as hell. And that's what some people do. Like they splurge, I think, just because it's like, why else are you getting up in the morning? I mean, if there's no rest, there's no fun at all in your life. It's just get up and work and pay bills and get up and work and pay bills. And, yeah, you're going to look at this and be like, yeah, I get nothing in return other than just having the luxury of getting up tomorrow to pay more bills. So yeah, I'm going to splurge on this game. When questioned by another individual, Baldur's Gate 3 would cost $80 if launched a few months from now. He replied, whatever price it was, we would probably not suggest people do whatever they can do to buy it, lest they not be real fans. Yeah, that was a very weird way to phrase it. And the guy was not attacking Pitchford. He was just like, hey, just don't charge $80 because people are tired of the $80 games. And this is a conversation that a lot of these big publishers are going to have because gamers are paying attention. They're paying attention to your social media presence and how you interact with them. And they're paying attention to the price tag. And of course, they're paying attention to the quality of it, right? The quality is obviously should be the first thing. So what we've got in the AAA space, at least, and I'm not just saying, Pitchford or whoever else, but what we've got in the AAA space is we have games that are of questionable quality, costing a fortune, and then the real fans have to put up with people behind the games attacking them on social media. Back in my day, there were very few game developers that had any sort of interaction, I think, with the public. Like everybody just kind of did their thing. Like I didn't even know who made most of the games I played when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. I had no idea. You would get Miyamoto would come up sometimes. Oh, speaking of Miyamoto, I got to tell you the story. Actually, it's my son's story to tell. I don't know if he's going to tell the story on the channel or not, but he got to see Miyamoto. They went to Epic Universe on opening day, him and his friend, and he got to see Miyamoto. Miyamoto was Gosh, I think he was a couple feet from him. Now they wouldn't let you take pictures or whatever, but apparently he like watched them launch on the Mario Kart ride, and he was like standing there watching people go through. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So yeah, and he seems like a pretty nice guy. So yeah, a little bit different than this dude. So what do you guys think? I think his comments were gross. I think it was a bad look to say that. I think anytime you shame the customer or bully them into buying your product for any reason, it's a bad look. I'm gonna wrap this up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.